The primary purpose of selecting rich texts is to establish an understandable and systematic approach to choosing high-quality books across a variety of genres, enabling students to think more critically, achieve deeper understanding, and develop into stronger, more proficient readers. To accomplish this, the objective focuses on identifying rich texts from all genres that align with grade level standards, while creating and implementing a thoughtful plan to incorporate these texts effectively through differentiation strategies that meet the diverse needs of learners. Rich texts are carefully designed to promote deeper understanding by utilizing high-quality instructional materials that develop reading comprehension while building essential background knowledge, tiered vocabulary, and advanced comprehension skills. It is not uncommon for these texts to operate above grade level, providing an academic challenge that pushes students to grow. Across a variety of rich text genres, students are introduced to new vocabulary, encouraged to build critical thinking skills, and taught to create flexibility in their reading approaches, allowing them to adapt and adjust how they read depending on the content and purpose. Narrative fiction engages students through stories featuring characters, settings, conflicts, and resolutions structured with a beginning, middle, and end. Narrative fiction supports literacy development by introducing story grammar, which helps in comprehending and retaining story information while offering a framework for students to write their own stories. Informational nonfiction provides factual information. It usually incorporates text features such as table of contents, glossaries, captions, and diagrams. It shows how authors organize information using structures like cause and effect or compare and contrast, which helps build background knowledge. Persuasive texts try to influence the reader's beliefs or actions by presenting claims supported by logical reasoning and evidence, and are usually nonfiction. They help literacy by developing critical thinking abilities, deepening understanding and retention through the evaluation of arguments and supporting details, and encouraging active engagement through questioning and analysis of the content. When selecting texts for the classroom, educators prioritize complexity through quantitative measures like longer, less common words and intricate sentence structures alongside qualitative elements such as multiple layers of meaning, abstract themes, flashbacks, and symbolic or obscure language. Relevance is equally important because it ensures texts align with students' goals by providing needed information, reflecting their cultural experiences, broadening perspectives on diversity, and connecting to their prior knowledge and interest to ignite motivation. Diversity enriches learning by incorporating various genres while presenting multiple viewpoints and diverse characters. Aligning text with curriculum standards guarantees educational relevance by directly supporting learning objectives, facilitates assessment of progress, and drives better student outcomes through enhanced comprehension, performance, and lasting retention. In second grade classrooms, teachers align stories with key reading standards to foster deep comprehension and growth. By choosing texts that invite students to ask questions about the text setting, plot, characters, etc., teachers help their students uncover essential details. This is based on Ohio's Reading Literacy Objective 2.1. Selecting books that clearly show a beginning and ending that resolves the action allows young readers to grasp overall narrative structure. Ohio Reading Literacy Standard 2.5. Pairing text that have illustrations encourages students to draw meaning from both pictures and words to better understand characters, settings, and plot. Ohio Reading Literacy Standard 2.7. This alignment enhances targeted skills, builds scaffolded awareness of story elements, and highlights how visual and verbal cues work together. When beginning a literature search and analysis, start by defining your goals and concepts. Identify your topic, select relevant texts, and brainstorm keywords to help guide you in your search. Next, choose your resources and search tools. Apply filters like format or grade level to narrow your search. Incorporating synonyms, related concepts, and other variations may give you better results. Then, execute the search and evaluate your findings. Scan titles and sample pages to see if something pops out that you may be able to use. Finally, refine your approach if you get too few or too many hits, and document any sources you want to use to find them later. For narrative genre, I chose The Day Jimmy's Boa Ate the Wash by Trinka Hakes Noble. This story begins with the mother's questions and the daughter's answers. Teachers can ask students questions to follow the chain of events. This aligns with Ohio Reading Literacy Standard 2.1. The story is told in reverse chronological order, which provides a way to discuss this backward story structure to traditional beginning, middle, end format. This aligns with Ohio Literacy Reading 2.5 objective. This book can be used to teach sequencing, comprehension, and visual literacy activities. For the informational genre, I chose What If You Had Animal Ears by Sandra Markle. The book has a repetitive structure with a hook at the beginning, the what if, to promote critical thinking. This aligns with Ohio Reading Literacy Standard 2.5. Pictures show diverse children with various animal ears. Real animal photos are pictured as well, RL 2.7. This book promotes questioning, structural awareness, and multimodal comprehension as written text, photographs, and illustrations. For a persuasive genre, I chose Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus by Mo Williams. RL 2.5. The book starts off with a problem. The duck begs, pleads, and throws a tantrum to get the reader to not let the pigeon drive the bus. Teachers could discuss how the story structure could reflect real life, such as throwing tantrums to get your way. RL 2.7. Drawings convey strong emotions. Students can easily guess how the duck is feeling. This is a good book for lessons on character traits, sequencing, and reader participation. To use these books, my implementation plan is as follows. For Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, read the book aloud while pausing to ask who, what, where, when, why, how questions. Students can retell the story in sequence using handmade puppets or flannel board characters. You can use a graphic organizer to chart the beginning, middle, and end of the story. Discussion prompts can include, how does the beginning set up the problem? How is it resolved in the end? Students will create and answer 3 to 5 questions about the pigeon's arguments. For The Day Jimmy's Boa Ate the Wash, a plan could include, during reading aloud, pausing during each new event that occurs to ask questions. Students could be put in pairs to write an alternate event that could have happened at the farm field trip. Students can look at the illustrations and describe how they add humor in the book. And a discussion could be on how this story is told as a flashback from the girl's point of view. For the book, What If You Had Animal Ears? You can read each new animal section aloud. Ask who, what, where, when, why, how questions regarding each of the animal's ears. Discuss how each section begins fictional and ends up with actual facts about the animal. Students can invent their own what-if animal, including a written description and illustration. Discussion could be done on how the text doesn't align with the image. For example, the words say, "Jackrabbit ears hope to hear danger," but the illustration shows a kid dodging a ball in the park. Addressing the needs of all learners is essential for fostering equity and inclusiveness in education. This approach increases student engagement and motivation, leads to improved academic outcomes, reduces achievement gaps, and creates a positive classroom environment. Effective strategies like using tiered questioning during the reading of "Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus" supports struggling readers while challenging advanced readers. Offering choices like drawing, acting, or writing to demonstrate story elements for "The Day Jimmy's Boa Ate the Wash" Illustration-based discussions on the book, "What If You Had Animal Ears?" can benefit English language learners. Incorporating technology such as text-to-speech aids students with learning disabilities. These inclusive practices ensure every student can actively participate and succeed. Selecting the books for this presentation for the genres of informational, persuasive, and narrative was easy. Developing strategies on how to use the books in the classroom to improve literacy development was the hard part. I identified the characteristics of each genre and how those characteristics could contribute to literacy development. I used this information to guide me in selecting the books I wanted to use. I chose "Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus" as a persuasive text because it offers many opportunities for discussions using the who, what, where, when, why, and how question prompts. The illustrations portray extreme emotions of the pigeon, of the duck, during his rantings of persuading the reader to drive the bus. It's also a fun book to read, and it will keep the students' attention. I chose the book "The Day Jimmy's Boa Ate the Wash" because it had great illustrations that added to the humor of the book. Understanding story structure is important because it guides the reader from the introduction, problem, then to the resolution. In this book, the story is told in reverse, with the resolution at the beginning. The last book I chose was "What If You Had Animal Ears?" This book combines fiction with nonfiction. Each section of the book starts out with a person with animal ears and gives facts about how the animal uses their ears for survival, then moves to a picture of the animal with true facts. This book allows students to ponder, "What if I had blank ears?" to create their own book. After going through the process of selecting texts, suggesting differentiation strategies, and developing implementation plans, I feel confident that as a future teacher, I will be able to promote literacy development in my classroom through rich texts. It is important to choose rich texts for instruction because they help build background knowledge, expand vocabulary, enhance comprehension and critical thinking, and motivate students by making connections to their lives. Rich texts can be provided through methods like read aloud or guided reading, which allows all students to benefit from complex content with appropriate teacher support, ensuring everyone has access to knowledge.